Good afternoon, and welcome to our 6th week of the Salamander Live V3 training series. This training is geared towards walking everyone through the new Salamander Live version 3, also known as V3 changes and enhancements. So this is actually going to be our last full week of the V3 trainings. Starting in March, we're actually going to start them on the Tuesday, so they'll be every Tuesday. And then this will be our last of this. And then starting in April, we're going to start diving deep into each of the different areas within V3. So this is your time to really get the information and migrate your account and all your users over to V3. So in today's training, we are going to be covering the 4 areas that you see on the screen here. First is going to be logging into V3. I'm going to discuss the 2 options and the process for logging in. With this is going to include how to migrate your V2 user over to the V3 system. I will also talk about how to create new users as well as get those new users logged into the V3 system. Second is on navigation, which focuses on the changes in the main menu, the new website settings, as well as profile page. There's some important items I want to make sure that all users, whether existing or new, do. Third is on setting up the user profile. Last is setting up account settings. So this is going to really cover the administrator functions such as setting up multi-factor authentication, qualifications and training, files manager, and security users. Now, as we are looking at converting from V2 to V3, having some prior knowledge and experience working in V2 is going to be a benefit to you during today's training. But if you are new to Salamander Live, I will be providing again some introductory training opportunities, again, as I mentioned, in April to help you learn the system. As always, our free monthly training calls are recorded. Please do check out our Salamander YouTube channel as that already contains our a training recording from, I believe it's our first week that we did this. So if you want the direct link for that, please put your email in the chat and I can send that over to you. If you're just joining in, welcome. All right, so first and foremost, here is the URL to the V3 site. So all you're going to do is open up a web browser in either Chrome, Firefox, or Edge, and you're going to type in this URL, app.salamanderlive.com/V3. So adding that V3 at the end is going to be extremely important to get you into the correct website. Okay, so if you don't put that V3 at the end there, it's going to take you into the current version right now, which is V2. Once you get into the V3 login page, you're going to see that there's 2 options for logging into Salamander Live. Left side is going to be a single sign-on option, and the right side is going to be a direct login option. So single sign-on, what this is, it's basically an authentication tool that allows a user to use their corporate ID to access this site. So what you're basically going to do is have your account set up, your single sign-on with Salamander. So it's really a simple, easy step. It's basically open up that that authentication with Open Connect or OpenID Connect. Okay. That is a free version. So there's basically 2 options to setting up SSO. That free version, basically you're opening up your connection with us at Salamander, and then you're basically controlling their access and permission. So that's the free version. Now there is a fee version with this where you're opening up the connection. However, you want us at Salamander to control all your users' access and permissions. That does require customization, and because of that customization, that requires a fee or a cost. Now, if you are interested in setting up SSO, you can contact your local sales rep, or you can email sales@salamanderlive.com. Now, if you want more information on this, you can find the information on our website. Just go to salamanderlive.com, go to Solutions, go to Cloud Solutions, scroll all the way down. You'll get to the section that calls security, click on that tab, and then you're going to see a section that talks about single sign-on. So this very first sentence talks about the free version. So the handoff is through OpenID Connect. So that's what we use to create that connection. The second sentence is what talks about the fee version. So it's creating that custom development. Okay. So again, if you want more information on either option, just contact your local sales rep. They can provide you more information. They'll go through the questionnaire to see which is going to be the best option for you. And even if, single sign-on is an option. Now with direct login, Salamander Live V2 and V3 have two separate authentication processes. And what this really means is that users are going to have two separate authentication credentials to log in based on where they're logging in. So if you're logging into V2, you're going to use your V2 username and password. If you use the V3 link, you're going to use your V3 username and password. The reason why is because right now we're kind of in limbo because not everybody is, again, migrated over to the V3 system. So we've got users that's in V2, we got users that's in V3. So until we actually have everybody transitioned over into the V3 system, we're going to still be in this little, transition period. So we have to have this little period of time where we're going to have these two separate authentication processes. So that's why you're going to see that there's going to be multiple steps and these different steps to get everybody moved over. So how does this process look like for existing Salamander Live users? So the process is this. If you are an existing Salamander Live user, meaning that you currently have a username and password and you've been logging into V2, so the current version that we have today, what you're going to do is you're going to navigate to the V3 link. You're going to log in to V3 using your existing V2 username and password. Okay. And then once you successfully type in your V2 username and password, you're going to click sign in. Once you sign in, it's going to take you into a page in which it's going to require you to change your password to meet the V3 security requirements. So that's going to be extremely important. Okay. Once you meet the security requirements, you click save. From there on out, you'll be logged into V3. Once you log into V3, there's no point logging back into V2. Okay, so once you log into V3, stay in V3 and continue using V3. V3 has all the changes, all the enhancements, a bunch of new features that you're not going to get in V2. Now for new Salamander Live V3 users, process is very similar. Okay. So in this case, you'll see that, oops, I apologize. On that, step 1 and 2 are going to be exactly the same. Navigate to the V3 link. Step 2, in this case, you're going to log into V3. The difference is that you're using the username and password that's sent to you by your administrator. Okay, so they're sending you this information. And in this case, it's not a password that you set up. It's a temporary password that is sent and created by the system. So I'll walk you through this process in a little bit at the end when we go through the security user section. And then the step 3, the system, once you successfully log in with that temporary password, it's going to require you to change your password to meet that V3 security requirement. Okay. So again, we'll walk through this process once we get to that security user section. Okay. Now, one thing to note on here is that do not use this forgot password. Do not use this. Whether you are an existing Salamander Live user, that you're trying to get into this system. So if you never logged into V3, do not use the forgot password. This will not work for you. This feature is tied to having a verified email once you've successfully logged into Salamander Live and you've verified your email. So I'll show you that. That has to be done once you've logged into the V3 system and verified your email in your profile. So if you try to use the forgot password, it's going to ask you to type in your username and it's going to send an email, but it's going nowhere. It's just going to sit in queue. So it looks like it sent something, but you're not going to get anything. Okay, so this feature does not work until you verify your email. So let's walk through that process. So here it is. This is the Salamander Live V3 site. So right here, I'm going to type in my V2 username, my V2 password. Okay. So my V2 username, V2 password. Now, if you forget where your V2 username and password is, you must go to the V2 site. So if you forget what this is, you can go to your V2 site and then you can do your forgot password there. You can go right there. You can do your forgot password from the V2 site. You can't do that from the V3 site. You got to do your reset password from the V2 site. Or you can contact your administrator. They can reset the password for you. So not an issue there. Or if you have your password saved on your browser, you can do the show your password if you don't know what it is. Like I have all my passwords saved in my browser. I can just go in there, show it, and then just copy and paste it in V3. Okay, so once you type that in, click sign in. Once you click sign in, you'll see it's going to try to log you in. This is successful. This is good. This is exactly what you want to see. It should take you into this change password. From here, it's going to require you to change your password. You're going to have to type in your old password. This is going to be your V2 password. And then type in your new password. Your new password, as you start typing, is going to have the password requirements in this case. So password minimum is 12 characters. So V3, you'll see in here, has much more security requirements than in V2. So V2 was 8 characters minimum, V3 is 12. At least one number, one special character, one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter. So that's still the same as in V2. Now, if your V2 password meets those requirements for V3, could you use your V2 password as your V3 password? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Just retype that in there and you'll see that it'll accept it. Okay? So as long as it meets those V3 requirements for password, retype it in there and then click save. Once you click save, you should see a success. Password has been updated. You'll see that this is going to be a change throughout the entire V3 site, that you'll always get these little pop-ups, these notifications that lets you know, hey, password's been updated, user's been created, user changes has been saved. You're going to see this throughout the new V3 site. So there's no guessing on whether or not, your changes have been saved or been made. Okay, so simply click OK to clear that out. Okay, so now you've successfully logged into V3. There's no need for you to log back into V2. Okay, so if I'm going to log into V3, I'm going to use that new password. Now, if I ever need to log into V2 for any particular reason, the only reason why I would ever need to log into V2 would be for my mobile applications. So if I have mobile applications, which I do, in this case, my user has some mobile applications, which is a track app. That's the only reason why you'd ever have to log back into V2 is for those mobile applications. So the mobile applications still uses your V2 credentials, so your V2 logins. So the best way to do this is, if you don't want to confuse yourself, is I highly recommend you log back into V2 right here. So you log back into V2. So go to the V2 site. You're going to type in your V2 username and V2 password. Again, remember your V2 credentials and your V3 credentials are login credentials are completely separate. So I'm going to type in my V2 password, not my new one. I'm going to sign in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to update it and just mirror it, match it to my V3. So I'm going to click the welcome at the very top there to get to my profile and update it. Type in my old password, my V2 password. And then what I'm going to do is going to type in my new password and make it the same as what I typed in for V3. So now my mobile applications and V3 all match up. So just know that when you change your password for your mobile applications, now if you are logged into your application, it's going to require for you to log back in. Okay. So again, I highly recommend that you do this. So once you log into V3, just go back into V2, update your password in V2 so it matches up to V3, and then go back to your applications if you have them, whether that's the track app, tag app, inventory app, okay, rapid tag, and then log back in with that new V3 password. And then just sign out from there. And then you're all set. Now this process, I have this process documented. So we have this uploaded on our site. Just go to SalamanderLive.com, go to resources, go to media, and then scroll all the way down and go to right here, V3 user login reference. I've got it documented right here. So it has the entire process for users with existing Salamander Live V3 credentials. And it has it right here, mobile app login procedures, navigating, and then matching your V3 password right here. Okay, so that's extremely important. I just want to make sure that we cover that. What happened to the quick add for employee? You mean for in here? We don't have the quick add anymore in here. The quick add in this case, it wasn't really utilized as much. So we did remove that from here. So you can still do the people and then click the plus right from here. So it's still the same number of steps. Like for the quick add, you still have to click on quick add and click on people. So in here, it's just people, click plus. So it's the same number of steps. All right, so that is the migrating your V2 login into V3. All right, any questions that's related to data management will be covered tomorrow. So I know, Melissa, you have some questions about equipment. New one wants the exact location address. That is correct. We'll cover that tomorrow. Today is really focused on account settings. So it's going to be really about the profile at the top here and about the account settings down here. For anything that's related to the pages right here for people, equipment, alerts, collections, organizations, and assignments, we're going to be covering that in tomorrow's training. So write down the questions that you might have for that. And then if you can come back tomorrow, I just want to make sure that we cover what we have in our agenda for tomorrow. All right, so now that you've logged in here, one of the first things that you want to do in here is to go into your profile. So one of the things that you'll notice is that the profile, if you saw earlier, it used to be on the left side. Now it's on the right side. Right side. And you'll see next to that, we also have some website settings. So this is some of the changes that you're going to see in V3 is that we have a website setting toolbar. So right here is for languages. Right now we just have English, but we will be adding additional languages in the future. Here is some shortcuts for weather. So we've got USA weather watches, USA storm reports, and world hurricanes and cyclones. So if you click on these do redirect you. They opens up a tab to the ArcGIS maps. You can see that information. You can zoom in. This is full screen, just the same as we had in V2. Again, to exit, just tap the escape key on your keyboard, and then dark mode and light mode, so you can switch between the two. Okay, another question. I changed my password, but now when I log into V3, it is asking for the code from my work. No email or text with the code. So the code it's asking for, you have set up MFA, multi-factor authentication, which I will get into. So Rick, if you want to hold on for that question, I will answer that once we get to the profile. All right, so let's get into the profile at the top right. So profile, if you click on the profile, you'll see there's a drop down. You'll see that's where you can find your profile. This is also where you're going to find the help button. So the help used to be in the menu over here where you're able to email support, find our 24/7 support number. Okay, as well as frequently asked questions. So that's still right here. So these are all clickable buttons. Our Learning Center, so a shortcut for tutorials. Again, we don't have a lot of tutorials as of right now, only because I'm still working on those. There's a lot of them that we have to get converted over. And of course, you can email support right here. But where I'm gonna go into is the profile. There are some very important things that have to be updated in here by you as the user. So first things first, you're going to notice that we got rid of the one pager. We now have added tabs. So you'll see in here that there is the details tab, product tab, and roles tab. So this used to be just one page. So first things first, to the top or left of this, you're going to see that that's where you should, you may or may not see your picture. You should see your name though. You could possibly see your ID number, your organization, and then it's going to show linked or not linked. This is not us. This is per your account or your administrator. Okay, so it's whether or not your administrator linked your security user account to your personnel record. So they set this up under the security user side. And it's done by the full name. So when they created your record, they had the ability to select your record from the drop down when they entered in your name. Sometimes when they're creating this, your personnel record wasn't created yet, and so they didn't have that option. Once later they created your record, they can go back in their edit and they can link it later, which would then pull in your information and pull in your picture. Now, if you as the user has access to view personnel records, you would see the eye icon right here. And that just gives you the ability to go in and view your personnel record. If you click on that, that takes you into your personnel record. Because I have access, I'm an administrator, that gives me access to go and view my personnel record. And I also have editing options. I also have printing capability. That's why I have those buttons there. Now, if you want to go back to your profile, don't click the internal back button here. This will take you back to your people list. You want to click the back button on your browser, which goes into your history. Configuration is the same as in V2, no changes there. This just talks about whether or not you have access to view custom fields. Again, custom fields are set up by your account administrators. So again, it's going to say yes if your account administrator set up custom fields. It's going to say no if they didn't set this up. Okay, so where you're going to be able to edit is going to be on the right side on the details page. So first and foremost, at the very top, you're going to see email. You're going to see that there's going to be, when you first log in, it should say not verified. So why is this very important? This is where I was talking about for the log or for on the login page when we talk about the forgot password. If you want to be able to use that forgot password feature, this is where you have to verify your email. So this is what I'm talking about right here is the login page. Oh, let me get to the login page right here. The forgot password. This right here is linked to a verified email right here. So what you need to do, how to verify your email is simply click edit. Make sure that the email that was entered in for you by your administrator is correct. If that's correct, just simply click save. Click send code to email. It's going to send a code. You should see success. Code has been sent to your email. Check your email for that code. It should be pretty quick. Again, it depends. Again, quickness, I mean, it depends on your email inbox, how fast you receive that. Depends on your internet connection. So I already got mine. It looks just like this. It's gonna come from Salamander Live notifications. Make sure Salamander Live notifications is on your safe sender list. Okay, you're gonna get that code. Simply copy and paste that code and paste that into the code field and verify code. Once it's verified, you should see a success. Click OK, and now that exclamation mark turns into a green verified. So now it's verified. If you ever forget your V3 password, now you can reset it by using the forgot password feature on the login page for V3. Underneath that, you have the option for mobile number as well. Yes, you can set this up if you want to. You definitely can. So in here, this mobile number is tied to multi-factor authentication. You do not have to set this up if you don't want to. Now, the mobile number may exist in there, it may not exist in there. It depends on whether or not the mobile number is entered in by, again, your account administrator. Now, only in V3 is the mobile number available. So again, V2, there wasn't a field for a mobile number. This would only pop up in V3. Okay, so again, mobile number is related to multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is a feature that allows you to set up a secondary factor to identify you as the user. So this is not just us. There's other, many other organizations and other types of accounts that's requiring another way for you to verify that you are who you are when you're logging into any of your accounts, like banks, Gmail. I mean, YouTube even. They're having you verify either through a text message or your email by typing in a code that they send to you. So that's what multi-factor authentication is. But multi-factor authentication has to be set up by your account administrator. So that's done in the account settings, which I'll talk about when we get to the account settings section. So you as a user, if your account administrator gives you the option to set it up, or if they require it and you set this up, you have the option to do so right here by clicking edit. Now right here, you'll see that if you click on it and you have the option, you'll see it listed there for the methods in which you can set up for MFA. Now you'll see that SMS messaging is grayed out. The reason why it's grayed out for me is because I don't have a verified mobile number. You see that? The only way I can use SMS messaging as my method for authentication is if I also verify my mobile number. So I have to verify my mobile number. So how do I verify my mobile number? Simply go to edit. Okay. You verify by clicking save, send code to mobile, success, you should get a code. There it is. I'm going to type in my code. Verify code, success, and now I've got the green check mark. When I go to the MFA, now it should show SMS is available for me to set up. If I want to set up SMS messaging, it's super simple. Because I have a verified number, I just click on SMS message, click save, success. You'll see it's been updated successfully, and that's it. It's been set up. So Rich, for your question, this is what you have set up in your account. So you must have set up either SMS messaging or you have set up the Authenticator app. For the Authenticator app, it's set up, it's a multi-step. So the Authenticator app, if you choose to use the Authenticator app, you have to download an Authenticator app. So you can use any of them, download them from the App Store, Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator. If you're already using one from your company, use that same one so that way you don't have multiple Authenticator apps. Like I have Microsoft Authenticator that we already use internally. So that's what I'm using here. So again, if you want to change your mind, like say I'm changing my mind, I prefer not to use SMS messaging and I want to use my Authenticator app instead. All I do is I click the checkbox for that or the radio button for that, click next. It's going to take me to this screen. Within my Authenticator app, I can just scan that QR code. I highly recommend you scan it versus doing the secret key. I recommend not typing that in. It's a long secret key. So I highly recommend scanning. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into my Authenticator app. I'm going to scan that in. There it is. My Authenticator app is giving me my code. I'm going to type in that code. Click Save. I should get the success. Click OK, and now it's been activated. So now when I log out, I log back in, it's going to immediately ask me to enter that code from my app. So now I got to go into my app and get that code. Or from my messages if I use SMS messaging, and then click sign in. And now I'm in. So that's that second factor. So it's more than just your username and password. It's either a text message or it's typing in a code from that Authenticator app. So hopefully, Rich, that answered your question. So you had to have set this up. No one can set this up for you. You have to set that up. Any questions on the MFA? Now, again, update passwords. You can self set this up yourself if you need an update. You want to change your password. This is your way to do so. Again, if you update your password in V3 and you have mobile applications, make sure you go back to V2 and update that so they're the same, so you don't have to memorize two different passwords. Now, moving down the line, going into product, you'll see that this again gives you access to view what, or visibility to see what products you've been assigned. Again, you can't click on any of these. Now, if you have logged in to your mobile applications, you should see that there is the tokens on there. I haven't logged in yet to my mobile applications. If I did log in, the mobile application, it would pop up on here as a token. Now, if you remove the token, it is going to require you to log back in. So that still works just like V2. Nothing has changed from that. Okay, so nothing has changed. Everything is still exactly the same as in V1, or I'm sorry, V2 when it comes to tokens. So I just logged in. I'm going to refresh. And there's my token. I just logged in. So you see that? I just logged in. It saved the token for today's date, current time right now. Okay. So if I click X, which you can do, if I remove the token, it's going to log me out of the mobile that track app, and I'll have to log back in. That's just what that token does. Roles, still the same thing as V2, no changes here. You'll still see that you have the info button that you can still click. Now, what the changes that you're going to see in here that we've done on the role detail side is that now all the permissions we've basically we've you want to call it itemized. We've basically separated everything out, so it's easier for you to tell exactly what each person has access to. So now it just doesn't say people. It actually tells you exactly specifically what in the people they have access to. So people list, people availability, people medical, their credential, alerts, files. So it does a full breakdown of the different pages. Rich, I set up for SMS and verified my mobile number, but now it isn't working. I will look into this after class. Okay, so if you set up for SMS and verified your mobile number, it isn't working. If it's not working, you can either have your administrator, they can clear your MFA, or after class you can let me know and I can clear it. If you are the administrator, I can clear it for you as well. To just send me a private message and I can clear it for you, or you just put your email address in there and I can go into your account and clear it for you. Uh, Dustin, will this recording be available to view later? I was called away during the first part of this meeting. If you'd like this specific recording, Put your email in the chat and I can send you this specific training recording. I do have a training recording from the very first week that's posted on our YouTube channel that you can get access to that has very similar information as to today's training. But if you want this today's training, yes, put your email in the chat and I can send that over to you. Thank you, Rich. Yes. You'll see we split everything up in here. So it just gives you just more information. So now you can see exactly as an administrator, what specifically would you have access to? Okay. So you'll see there's just so much more, and then you'll see that we've added a lot new features. So there's a lot coming. And as we add new features, we'll add more permissions in here as well too. Now, some of this stuff is not going to pertain. Some of this does include custom design for other organizations and accounts. And of course, you still have access to view what child organizations you have access to if you have access to child organizations. So that is the profile. Any questions on the profile? All right. Now again, just going towards the navigation. So we went through the top right already to the menu. You'll see the menu. It's still on the left side, so we haven't changed that, but we did reorganize the menu list. So as someone mentioned earlier, yes, we did get rid of the quick add links. Um, again, it was the same number of steps, so it didn't make sense for us to keep it because it was still two buttons. You had to click quick add and then people. So here it was just people plus, so still two steps. So that's why we got rid of that. But you'll see that we got rid of home and now it's just called dashboard. So the dashboard is basically your home dashboard. So you'll see on the dashboard itself, all the tiles in this case are full length, so there's no more customization of resizing the tiles. You can still do some customization in what tiles you want to see and you're rearranging where they're placed. So you'll still have that menu at the top, but it's called modules because these are actually called modules in this case. If you click on that, you'll see that there's the visible module so you can hide what you don't want to see. You'll see that we do have a new equipment module in this case. And we also have a message board. Now the message board, it doesn't matter where you place it, just know that, and again, you click drag and drop to rearrange it, just know that wherever you place it, it'll always be on top. So you see I put it at the bottom, you'll see it just appears on top. So this message board is communication from Salamander. So anything that we want to make sure you know about, especially when it comes to releases, we'll place them here. Recent people, this is the same as in V2, except we reorganize this a bit. You'll see that we now have a standard header at the bottom with metrics. So now you'll see people active, QCT, which stands for qualifications, certifications, and training. So we did reorganize that. So qualifications notice, we created what's called a people qualifications and training module. So that is now here contains all of it. So you're going to see quals training or quals and training, and they're going to see 30 days and expire quals. So we got rid of the whole 7 days. And then you'll see in here print expiring in 30 days and print expired. So these are all related to ID cards if you're using expiration dates. If you click on these, they will take you into the actual list itself and auto filter that list based on what you click on. The same thing, this will actually take you and filter out the list right here. Okay, so they work just like in V2, where you click on it, it'll take you into that actual record. For equipment, works just like the people, but now you have an equipment list. So we never had this in V2. This is completely new, but as you start adding in equipment, you'll see it listed here. So whether it's a new ad and updated, if you access that, you'll see that information right here. So you'll see for your dashboard, or for your metrics, you'll have equipment available. Again, if you have the asset management feature, They'll show you how many you have assigned and how many that have alerts expiring in 30 days. Now, if you're choosing to put expiration dates on your ID tags that you print for your equipment labels, you'll see them show here. I think most organizations that I see that do expiration dates really tie them to consumables more than anything. Recent events, so if you're tracking and doing accountability for events, you'll see them listed here. It's the same. These are all clickable. You can take them into the actual event themselves. So come back on that third day and Thursday, which we will go for plans and events. Last but not least is recent communications. So this, again, no changes here. This still works just the same as in V2. So these are clickable. You can click on it and it gives you that preview. Those are basically just some of the changes here. Moving on, we're going to go into the account side. So the account side, you'll see in here, we've rearranged this. So we've placed anything that's related to administrative functionality into the account. So again, I want to make sure that we talk about administrative function. So there's two types of administrators, right? So there's an account administrator, and then there's just an administrator, which is just an org administrator. So what's the difference between the two? An account administrator is an administrator that's set up all the way at the top. That means that when you're looking at the org hierarchy, they're all the way at the very top. They manage the entire account. They have full authority, full access to the entire account. So that's an account administrator. And then you have just an administrator that could be an org administrator. So that administrator is set up as an administrator as at a child organization. So there are restrictions when it comes to child org administrators. For example, they don't have access to account settings. Again, that's an account administrative functionality. Same thing with qualifications and training. That is, again, a account administrative restriction. So those are just some of the things that, again, if you are a administrator for a child organization, you're going to not have access to some of these functionality. So if you try to click on it and you just see spinning or you see access denied, that just means that you are an administrator, but not an administrator at the very top. Okay, so that means you'll need to contact someone else that has access to make some of the changes that you need. So let's look at this. So first things first, we'll just take everything line by line. Account settings. This is an account administrator functionality. So account settings, they are making changes for the entire account if you go into this account setting page. Under general, you'll see that this has the same look and feel as in V2, except we did make a couple changes in here. First change, you'll see that we've added tabs. Second change, you'll see that we've added a time format. So now you can change time format from 12-hour to 24-hour. So if you like 24-hour for your reports and such, you can change that. The default image size, none of that has changed. Again, if you want to change that, just go in there and change it. Again, we have notes in here. So we have recommendations. Again, this is for pixels. Auto-generate IDs, same. Nothing has changed there. Default rates, nothing has changed there. What has changed is password securities. If you remember in V2, we had a couple different options there. Now in V3, we don't. We just have one, force password change. By default, the system is going to force password change to every 180 days. So that's a default right out of the gate. You have the ability to change that, but your max is 999 days. There is no unlimited. No unlimited. If you change this to 0, that will force the user to change their password every single time they log in. So I recommend not changing it to 0. So leave it at 180, change it to 365, or put it at the max 999. But for compliance purposes, we can't make this unlimited. So again, as I mentioned earlier, V3 is much more secure, and this is just one of those components. Next, going into the next tab is availability settings. So this is a future um, uh, feature for the tag app. I don't have much information on this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail since I haven't seen the updated tag app yet. So I don't know much about this. I just know that you're able to go in here and set in availability settings for the tag app. So you can see it right now, but it doesn't do anything. Custom fields, this is still exactly the same. No changes here. You still have your minimum 10. So again, and the restrictions are still the same. So all Salamander Live accounts, so all Salamander Live standard accounts, everybody has access to create up to 10 custom fields for people. For equipment, this is restricted to those that are subscribed to asset management only. So that's still the same as in V2. No changes there. Multi-factor authentication, fourth tab. So this is where the account administrator can decide on whether or not they want to enforce multi-factor authentication. So if you click on that, this is where you can go in. So by default, MFA is turned off. That means that it's going to say optional and with no MFA methods activated. If you want to give your users the option, you just go into edit, click the edit button, and then just leave it at optional and then just click to the methods. You can choose one or choose both. So mine for my account is optional. So you see optional MFA, authenticator apps, and then SMS message. Now, if you require it, if you require MFA, just know that when your users log in, it's going to immediately take them to their profile page where they're going to be required to set up MFA. So I'm going to show you that really quick here. See if I remember my password for this account. Oh boy, let me see if I can remember this one. Let me just set this up. Let me require this really quick, just so you can see this. I'm going to require MFA. I'm going to save this. So if you require MFA, none of these settings will impact you yet until you log out as the administrator. So log out. So I already have MFA in my account, so I'll log into a different user. Okay, so log into a different user. I'm going to do, let me do, this is exactly what you're going to see. When you require MFA, this is what you're going to see, all your users. It's going to immediately take them into their profile. They will not be able to move forward until they set up MFA. I want to make sure I cover this process because it's just to eliminate the calls to our support line or the calls to you as the administrator so that they know exactly what they need to do. You see that they lose their menu, so they can't move forward. So right from here, you'll see that they have to set up their MFA. They need to go in there and they can set up whichever option they want to. Again, they can't set up SMS because they have to first verify a mobile number. So right now their only option is to set up the Authenticator app. Okay. Once they set this up, so in this case, if I set this up, I'm just going to set this up right now real quick so you can see this. Once they set this up, let me set this up so you can see exactly what happens when they set this up. So I set this up, put in the code. I click save, success, immediately lets them go into their account. And now they get their full menu. And now they're activated. So that's what happens when you require MFA. So think about that process. If you require it, make sure you send out communication and write down the process for your users so they know exactly what to expect and how to work through that process. And that will eliminate a lot of confusion and a lot of phone calls. Okay, let me get back to my correct account here. Oh, wrong one. Let me go to my TE grant. Apologize. So what happens when you have so many different accounts. Okay, there it goes. Oh, grant. All right, let me do this real quick. I swear I probably have like 60 different accounts. Now, if you want to clear your MFA, if you ever need to clear your MFA, just simply go in here. You can always clear it. If you want to clear it yourself, go in here and clear MFA. So Rich, this is basically what I'm going to do for you is, I mean, I wouldn't do it in your profile. Obviously, I would do it under your security user. You can clear MFA. But if you as the user wants to go and clear your MFA and start over, you can clear it right here. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to clear this out. So for my account, so it doesn't mess up for my other users. So I'm just optional. Now, if you do this on your computer, just make sure you go in and clear cache because it does save that token for your MFA. All right, so that is MFA. Moving on, File Manager. So File Manager is a new page that we have that basically allows you to see all of your files that's been updated or uploaded within all the different areas within Salamander Live. So if you remember in V2, there was an area called Documents, and that Documents area was available in People and Equipment. In V3, we've expanded that to allow you to upload documents not just for people and equipment, but also for organizations, plans, and events. And we now rename that documents area as files. And it's now available as a tab. So those tabs are now going to be available under this files manager. And you're able to go in there and view all the files that were uploaded for people, equipment, organizations, plans, and events. And then from there, you're able to search for specific files that have been uploaded. And this is going to be for the entire account. You can search for a specific file. It's going to search for all columns. And then from there, you can go in and view the details for that if you need to. So from there, you can see exactly when it was uploaded, who uploaded that, when that file was uploaded. And then all the way at the end of that record, you'll see there's a hamburger button. You can click on that and you can download to view that actual file, or you can view the details. This we're going to cover in tomorrow's training when we go over data management, but there is a new feature under the file section where when you upload a file, you're able to add in details for that file. You can add a status, a category. You'll be able to add in a start date, an expiration date, some details or some description, and then you can mark it as shareable, locked, sensitive, private, or top secret. So again, we're going to go over that tomorrow, but this again, it's not, you can't edit that from here, just giving you that information. If you need to edit any of this information, you have to go into that file within that record to make those changes. But again, this just gives you what has been uploaded. Another key feature in this is that it tells you how much storage you've actually used up for your entire account. So when you subscribe to Salamander Live, you get a total number of storage space. So it can be anywhere from 15 to 40 or more if you've purchased additional. So right now for my account, I've got a bunch of files up here. and I've only used up 60.23 megabytes. Now we don't have the total storage here yet. This is not going to be for a much future release. So as we continue to make enhancements to V3, this will show how much storage space you as the account has total. And then from there, if you're getting close, you can make that decision if you want to purchase more storage space. So that's File Manager. Next is Qualifications and Training. So this again is a section that is locked down to account administrators. Again, there is a role that you can add on to administrators to give them access to qualifications and training, but you'll see that we made some changes here. We got rid of the sunburst and graduation hat tabs at the top. We now have them as a list, and then we have this tab, the tree view. The tree view used to be first, but now we have the list view first. So this is just think of this as your master database of all your qualifications. So you still have your plus button, your report button, your columns button at the top here. So we renamed this as not edit columns anymore, it's just columns. And you'll see these buttons going to be the same as on the security user side. Okay. We didn't make any changes here in the create qualification. The only thing we made changes is that all required fields are now highlighted. The fields are highlighted in red with the exclamation mark. Okay, and that's the same thing on the training side. So we created tabs. On the tree side, you'll see that we made changes, a lot of changes here. So we got rid of the tree view and we created tabs instead. You'll notice that there is a tab that's missing, Tier 1, Federal National. Reason why we got rid of that is because it wasn't a folder that you could edit anyways. So we got rid of it to lessen all the confusion because we'd always get calls on why they couldn't edit that. So this is only the folders that you can edit. So tier 1, or sorry, tier 2 to tier 5 are the folders that you can actually add to and edit. And then you'll see then here we've created a button for the folder. So no longer is there just a link that says create folder. So creating a folder, same as before, click the button. Once you create the folder exists, and then there's no more right clicking. You'll see this throughout V3, no right clicking. There's actual physical buttons that you can click that will pull down a more button, more options. So there it is, the 3 ellipses. And then that's where you can add a new qualification. So you get the same form and add an existing. So you don't have to click on it like you do in V2. You would actually click on the ellipsis and add existing. So search for qualifications. So this is searching in that tier 1 folder and all your folders and your master list to find an existing qualification. Edit the folder name, delete it, add a new folder, and then you can move it to the top. Another thing that you're going to see in here, find that folder or find that qualification. Here it is once you create a qualification, this is for those that use prerequisites, is that once you are ready to add some prerequisites, you can actually go into that. You can click on edit. So if you created a qualification, you can go in there, click edit, and it'll take you into the edit screen. So we did make some changes here as well. So you'll see at the very top right, there's an edit button. That's where you can go in, make some changes to the base information. You can add in special criteria. We did add where you're able to bold, add italics, bullet points, numbers, and your description. Click save. Save is at the bottom of the page. So make sure you click save. And then you can add in prerequisites. So prerequisites right here is a click to expand, and you'll see that you'll have your qualifications. There's where you can find your tier folders, and then your training. So it's the same as V2. Click to what you want to add, adds it to the signed area over here, or you can use a quick add. So this functionality has not changed. It just looks different. So that's the qualifications and training. So it just looks different. We've added buttons, so there's no more second guessing on a lot of things. Moving on, security users. Security users, this we made a lot of changes to. You'll see that this is going to be the norm for how all the pages over here is going to look like. So tomorrow, if you come back, you'll see that most of the pages is going to have the same look and feel. You're going to see that most of the pages will have this static header at the top that's going to have some metrics. So on the security user side, you have users active, tells you how many active users you have, how many are disabled, and this will, on the security side, tells you how many users that you have that don't have any roles and how many that don't have any products. So as you're creating your security users, you might forget to add roles or add products. So these are clickable. Tells you how many you know who that individual is. There is a bug on this. Just note it pushing everybody at the bottom. We have this. It's going to get fixed in this next release. Okay. So it automatically filters out your list right there. How do you create a security user? Simple. Click the plus button. I do want to go through this process because this process has changed. So creating a security user, you'll see that no longer are you needing to create a password and come up with a temporary password. The system is going to create a temporary password for you. So I'm going to create a username right here. I'm just going to find someone in the system here. Type in T. Let's do here, Tabitha Lee. Okay, so Tabitha Lee. If you want to do the mobile number, you can. So this is where I was talking about where you have the mobile number option. Their organization, same as in V2, and then select their time zone. And then once you type this in, click save. Once you click save, there's going to be a little pop-up that pops up that says to close or copy. Make sure you click copy. Copy this and then go into your email and click new and paste this information into an email. The paste has a lot of information that you need to send to that user. Has their username, it has their temporary password, also has their URL to V3. Send this over. They're going to use this username and password to log into V3. Okay. So don't send this out yet. So you see how I linked her account? That's why it's pulling her information over. You're also going to see this as well. This is going to be a visual indicator for you on who in your account has not yet logged into V3. It'll tell you right here, user not set up in V3 yet. That means they've never logged into V3. If you're going through your account and you're saying whichever users has not migrated yet to V3, you'll see this in their account. From here, you're going to go into the products and you're going to set up their products. You're going to see some changes here. We got rid of checkboxes. No more checkboxes. You're going to see that all the products, all the features, there's going to be a drop down where you're going to need to select the invoice. So if they're going to have access to SalamanderLive, click the drop down and select the invoice. So all the features, if they're going to have plans, again, this is based off of your subscriptions. Let's say this person is an inventory user and they're going to use the inventory app. So this is what we're assigning to them. You must click Save Changes before you move on. So if you don't and you go over to roles, it's not making any changes. There's no products assigned to this person. So make sure you click Save Changes. You should get a little pop-up that says Product Invoices Update. Click OK and then go to the Roles tab. From here, this process is exactly the same as V2. No changes. All the roles are still the same roles as you have in V2. So what is this person's role? So let's say this person is an equipment manager. If you're for sure, it's the same thing as a V2. You also click on the info button, gives you the roles details. Okay. So I'm going to assign this person. And I'm going to assign the person the inventory app. Oops, if I select the correct organization there. Let me just do the correct organization here. I know it's 2:04. I apologize for running over the time here. Thank you for staying on. Let me delete this one. Confirm delete. You'll see that these are some of the changes you'll see in here. I'm deleting this or this role. So here it is. This person has been set up. So now I'm ready to send this information over to the user. So all I'm going to do is send this over to the user. So this person is set up. So what does this user have to do? So they're going to log into Salamander Live. So this new user, Tabitha Lee, what they're going to do is going to log in. So here is their information. So all they're going to do is going to take their information right from here. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste this information. And take this info, copy, paste it, paste it right here. Sign in. They're going to get the exact same change password, just like an existing V2 user that was migrating over. Copy their old password, which is that temporary password. From that email, type in their new password, making sure that they meet the new requirements for V3. Click Save. And then once they're done, they go in here, verify their profile. So same thing. They go in there, verify their profile. Okay. Verify their email and their profile, set up multi-factor if they need to. Once they're done with that, next step, they have the inventory app. So next step, what do? They have to go into V2. Go to V2 and they have to set up their password for V2. I don't recommend them trying to memorize this password for V2 for their inventory app. So what they're going to do is they're going to log into V2. Just take their, again, this username, this password, sign in, and then they're going to change their password and make it match their V3. So now when they log in to the inventory app, it matches up with their V3. Now they're all set. They're done. So now they've got an inventory app that has a username that matches up with their V3. So now once we close out V2, they don't have to worry about their usernames and everything matching up. They're all set and done. So that is the process for new users. Any questions on that? Any questions? Now, last but not least, in this case is self-registration. I'm not going to cover that. There's only like, I want to say 2 or 3 organizations that have that. So we're not going to cover that. There's like 2 changes in here. So we're not going to cover self-registration. For those organizations that do have self-registration, they've already reached out. I've gone over those changes with them already. If you're on a call or on the call today and you're one of those organizations that have self-registration, reach out to me afterwards and I can point you to some resources that have the changes for that. There's like 2 things. Other than that, that's all I have for everybody for today's training. Again, if you are looking for those resources, I have the resources in the learning. So everything I covered today is here. I've got user guides. So one thing to note about going to the Learning Center is that I have a section that's stated as such V3 documents. Make sure you go in there, V3 documents. If you go anywhere else in here, this is all related to V2. So V3 documents, user guides right here. So this is everything that's related to V3. Now, of course, all the mobile applications, you can still access that. Nothing has changed with the mobile applications in this case. Same thing with the inventory app. Nothing has changed there. Okay. So as I get those completed, I'll be posting those in. And as we close out V2, these will all be changed as well. Again, if you need the recording for today, please put your email in the chat and I will send you the direct link to today's recording. Again, you can also go to our YouTube channel to get a previous uh, recording from, I think, the first week. Other than that, everybody, I just want to thank you all so much for today. If you don't have any questions, thank you again so much for joining me today and staying on an additional 9 minutes. I really appreciate it. Please come back tomorrow for data management so that I can answer all the questions that you have on asset management, equipment, people. All right. Question. I did all the verification process and tried to change my password and I cannot get in. Help, can you reset my password? Melissa. Yes, I will take that offline. I'll reset your password afterwards and then I will email that to you, Melissa. And then same thing with Rich, I will clear your MFA. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much. Take care now.